Alrighty. Today I want to talk about not only the current situation with gym culture, but also why I believe gym culture has kind of shifted and kind of divulged into this very secular based environment. Because even I want to say back in like 2019, 2020, it didn't used to be like that. It didn't used to be very secular, and you didn't have like these hidden like underlying beefs with someone's dad or someone's grandpa inside the gym. And I just want to get into that. So first off, I want to start with what the overall gym feel was before it got more like popularized. I'm not saying I popularized it. I'm not saying like I'm hopping on like this bandwagon, but I am saying there was a shift. There were a ton of shifts in 2020, but a big one, a major one that I don't think a lot of people would like to admit that it really is a major shift that happened in 2020. Oh, there's a dead animal carcass. That's cool. Was the everyone going to the gym culture. Okay, and before the gym kind of got popularized. It got popularized through a lot of different ways. A lot of people would say it got popularized through the David Lade edits, through a guy named John Skywalker, and like his edits, a guy named Zyzz, and his edits, a guy named Greg Piplet, or something like that. And truth be told, it probably got popularized through a lot of that. It probably got popularized through a lot of isolation as well. Cool view. But and so now I want to get into what it was like before it really did get popularized. So before it got popularized, there were like some big, my phone's right there. It did get big, or excuse me, you did see big people in the gym, but you didn't really feel, I guess, like intimidated by them in a way. You more felt like that's something to kind of look up to. I don't know if a lot of people can relate to that, but I definitely know I could. I would frequently go up to like these bigger guys, and I would start asking questions. I'll start asking questions of like, like, how do you do? Like, what's your routine? And I got a lot of good advice. I got a lot of bad advice as well. I was working out at this Anytime Fitness, and I was just getting started, and he did like this whole like body scan, like super fancy. He's this personal trainer, but he decided to, I guess, kind of hook me up in a way. And he basically put me on a cut. And keep in mind, I'm 160 at this moment in time, and he wanted me to cut. And he gave me this diet plan that I followed like to a T. And let me tell you, I dropped a lot of weight. I went from 160, and I'm a pretty hard gainer in general until I started eating red meat. But in general, I was a pretty hard gainer. So I lost weight pretty easily. So I went from 160 to about like, I want to say like 144. And eating just chicken, rice, and broccoli or spinach. Okay. And overall, the gym advice was pretty good for someone like starting out in the gym like me, because really it's just kind of like throw spaghetti at the wall. Anything's going to stick, like anything's going to work. But you also did get a lot of good advice. Like big guys would say like, oh, you just gotta stay consistent. It doesn't really matter what you do, but it just matters that you do it. So find something that you know that you're gonna do, right? So anyways, now you have like so like you're walking into the gym, pre-gym culture vibes. You're walking into this gym, and you're just kind of nervous to make it so that you don't seem like you're this fool. You don't seem like you're like you don't know what you're doing. Basically, that was the biggest like nerve racking, like anxiety ridden thing going into the gym, pre gym culture. Okay. And generally, like, everyone was pretty respectful, and the music was, I would say it's more like, it was more like mainstream, and it was more like upbeat in a way. Like, it wasn't very I know a lot of people, including myself, kind of resort to SoundCloud as like their main taste in music, and a lot of things on SoundCloud are kind of negative, let's be honest. But you know, that's like what really gets you the most energy from a song is from SoundCloud. And a lot of people, including myself, would start out listening to SoundCloud, and just to hit a PR, and next thing you know, they're listening to that music 24/7. You know, it's like they're putting themselves in constant like fight or flight mode. But anyways, but not only that, but the dressing and the apparel were a lot more, I would say, appropriate for you know, in the gym. Like, yeah, you did have girls like in like super tight, you know, yoga pants or skinny, like whatever. You did have guys with like cut off t-shirts. I'm not saying that's all bad, but I am saying it's kind of gotten too much. You know, like before I dropped my gym membership and I started working out in my apartment. I would see like every girl in some like tight spandex, some tight yoga pants. Even girls, I think, like, they really need like a pump cover to hide like that kind of stuff in the meantime, so they can focus on actually working on it. And like, dude, I would see like grandmas, I would see people's moms, you know, and like, dude, I don't want to freaking look at that. You know, everyone's so focused on like kind of like the sex appeal to get some control over another person in the gym is what I mean. And you know, it's not only girls, it's guys too, but it really is for the most part girls, you know, because guys generally did start the gym culture. Let's be honest here, girls didn't start the gym culture, women didn't start the gym culture. It was the guys, it was the men who started the gym culture, and they started it. I would say, okay, so now we're drifting off from pre-gym culture to now gym culture. So now gym culture, a lot of people shifted to like going to the gym for like hardship reasons, for heartbreak reasons. You know, and a lot of that was like, man, like maybe they did want to better themselves, you know, but for the most part, they just wanted to work on themselves, or some people even just wanted like revenge through success in a way, right? So they wanted like revenge through success, but also you know, like they had like a lot of emotions. I'm speaking of the men right now. I know like women would like to chime in and say like, oh well, you know, it happens to women too. It's not what I'm saying, but I am saying the majority of it does happen to men. Okay, and I want to try and stay unbiased from this as a man, but dude, that's just how I see it. That's just how I see it. Like, a lot of men get into the gym to kind of feel better about themselves, due to heartbreak reasons, due to growing up in like broken households, you know, like this, that, and the other. But on the flip side, women kind of hopped on with the gym culture vibes, kind of like in a bandwagon. But I mean, that's kind of like women's nature in a way. Like, they don't really trend set, they more like trend follow. And you know, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but that's just kind of in their nature. But anyways, so now due to like this sort of selfish, I want to say, culture ignited after, like, it was a gym culture that started, and the gym culture that started wasn't selfish initially. It was just about like, hey, we're all gonna make it, you know, like Zyzz, we're all gonna make it, bruh, or oh, that was awkward, but you know what I mean. Like, we're all here to get better, and we're all gonna make it. It was very positive vibes. I know a real big fitness influencer. I think his name is Noel. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. I think he's gay. But anyways, he also speaks on this, where he's like, dude, like the gym culture nowadays is so toxic. And I love what he stands for. That he stands for, sure no one's following me. Yeah, he stands for like, dude, like let's get back to the initial gym culture vibes. Because the initial gym culture vibes wasn't like so toxic. It wasn't so toxic where people are like staring you down, like trying to dominate you because they're intimidated and they have like unresolved insecurities that, you know, they don't really they just don't really know how to handle. These freaking skeeters, you know, they just don't really know how to handle. But anyway, so now how it started, from what I believe, is that you had the guys that initially started it and did it for good, but they did it for good, and and the problem is they got exactly what they wanted. They got revenge through success, which is, you know, bettering themselves in a way, which isn't bad, but it's so like self-centered, and they kept chasing more. Like you see this through a ton of different gym influencers. You see this through, you know, John Skywalker is a huge one. He almost died, and he had that one Instagram post. Instagram post where he was like cursing out all his fans, and I think he's doing better. I think he's in rehab in like Vietnam or something like that. Man, who was that other guy? There was like a guy with like blonde hair. I don't remember, but you also have a lot of teenagers hopping on SARMs right now, which is a huge issue. And this all comes together, but I'm just going to kind of touch base on all these like variables, these details, whatever. Yeah, you had like all these popular influencers who got what they wanted. They got revenge through success. They were very motivational in that way. I forget how Zyzz passed away. I think it might have been due to drug problem as well. But anyways, so like, yeah, like you have all these gym influencers who were like the founding fathers of the gym culture. That's a great way of putting it. The founding fathers of gym culture. Okay. And what they initially stood for was like very high values, very high character. Like, you know, this isn't about just them, but it's bigger than them. And that was a great foundation. That was a foundation of stone to build off of, like the Bible says, that wouldn't crash away, or that wouldn't have the house crumble down or something like that. But then they all kind of divulged into more. So now you had their personalities and what they stood for crashing down, but everyone still kind of held on to like that initial gym culture. Okay. But it slowly started to dwindle down, slowly started to kind of degrade into a lot of toxicity. So, you know, women joined in, and, you know, it wasn't always like, oh, well, you know, women are just, you know, dressing very promiscuously, dressing for attention and like whatever. A lot of it was, including myself, like when they came in, I was like, dude, hell yeah. Like now it's not just men, but we also got women in it too. You know, we're creating like this whole community and like whatever. But as the gym culture started to dwindle down into wanting more and kind of, you know, suffering from greed and pride in that way, then naturally the woman started kind of degrading their values and like what they believed in and what they wanted from the gym as time went on, you know, because it wasn't enough. Like they got the body that they wanted. Believe me, they got the body that they wanted. But now it's like everywhere you go, like even on like this trail, and especially in commercial public gyms, you have women who are dressing in spandex, dressing in like yoga pants. I'm not even talking like semi-baggy or whatever. It's like straight up skin tight. I heard one woman on the internet trying to argue that it was for like flexibility or like mobility. It's so they can like move around easier. Dude, that's a load of crap right there. Like, let's just be so for real right now. It's a load of crap. But so that's only like one of the issues that I've noticed inside of the modern day gym culture and the modern day gym community. Okay, so on the woman's side of it, you have women dressing promiscuously, you know, dressing like they'll freaking, dude, swear on like everything political right now, on everything woman related. Dude, they'll like start doing like RDLs, they'll start doing like hinge work right in front of you, in front of like the dumbbell rack. And I'm just trying to do like dumbbell presses and like my pump cover and like get in and get out, you know. And now on top of that, so now I'm getting into another variable of modern day gym culture. So now on top of that, you have like all the guys staring at you, and you know, like a lot of guys that might just be getting into the gym, and it's not like they're getting into the gym with how the gym culture initially started out with, based on good values and good principles. Now they're getting into it based off of the modern day gym culture. So now you have all these guys staring at you, not in admiration, but in jealousy. They're staring at you in jealousy. So now you have like this sort of underlying beef with someone's dad, someone's grandpa, a lot of people your age. They'll kind of like stare you down, or like, man, it's so crazy. Like I had this dude, I had this beef with this one guy in this gym in my hometown before, like, whatever. But I'd beef with like these grown-ups. These guys are like the ages of my dad and my grandpa, and they form like these little cliques in the gym. And it's not even a commercial gym either, which is the craziest thing. I thought the commercial gym was more of like the underlying gym beefs that you deal with. Dude, I like, there was this bench. I just got done deadlifting, and I parked this bench next to this deadlift platform. And this dude, like the second I got done with deadlifting, I think I deadlifted like 455 or 460 for like a single. And he like comes up to me, or he yells at me across the gym. He says, "Hey, make sure you put away that bench." And like, keep in mind, I just got up, and I say, "Whoa, like, I'm gonna put it away. Calm down." And he's like, "You better." And then like, dude, it kept going on too. Like, dude, like he tried to call me out one day, saying like, "Dude, you don't take any showers, you don't wear any like deodorant, this, that, and the other." He's like, "Dude, you freaking smell bad, and I know I'm not the only one who's told you this." Dude, keep in mind, I didn't smell bad at all. Like, keep in mind, I was sweating a lot, so there might have been like a little bit of a faint, and I might have sweat through my deodorant, but like it definitely wasn't that big of a deal. Nobody else came up to me and talked to me about it. I literally only had a problem with this dude's like someone's dad or grandpa. I don't know. He was a little bit older, and he would constantly come up to me and say like, "Oh hell yeah, I used to like deadlift way more than that back in the day." Like, okay, cool, dude, leave me alone. I'm just trying to do my set. And I would have like times when I'm recording my bench, and he would like purposefully like position himself in front of my GoPro and I would see him like stare at me, and I would like bench, and I think he was expecting it to be hard or for me to fail, and I got it up like super easily. And you could see him just like, you know, kind of talking, like kind of gossiping like middle school girls with another guy that's kind of like my dad's age, who didn't really seem like he cared that much, but he kind of got roped in from this guy, and he just kind of scoffed, "Oh wow," like, and he said something under his breath that you could pick up in the video. But anyways, you know, that's like one of like many examples, you know, after like the 2020 culture vibes, right? And then like I think it set in around like 21 or like the mid 21, where the gym culture kind of shifted into a lot of like degeneracy, a lot of like promiscuousness, and kind of just focusing on like that sex appeal, focusing on like just kind of yourself in a way. And you know, I think a lot of that is due to I think a lot of that's due to this sort of caffeine culture of pre-workouts. I don't know about you, but some of these pre-workouts really make me anxious, and not in like if I drink black coffee, or if I just drink coffee in general, like I'm definitely not as anxious. Okay, and it kind of puts me in like this constant fight or flight mode where I'm just eyeballing everyone. Like I'm kind of like I like a lot of times when I used to go to the gym, I would put on this cap, this ball cap, and I would face it like all the way down just so I didn't like look at anyone, and I wouldn't have like these underlying beefs with people's dads and grandpas and people my age and like whatever. And also because I didn't want the attention from any woman, because I know like the attention from these women that dress like very promiscuously and very like provocatively only bring bad attention towards your way. So I would do that, but still somehow like I would get people that kind of like brush past me, like just in the dumbbell rack, and like walking like super close and dropping dumbbells super hard right next to me, conveniently like nobody else, you know. So that's just another example. But anyways, so like I think the over caffeinated culture of the gym is one variable where not only do you feel like super anxious, but you kind of have this like this feeling of like inevitable doom. Tell me if I'm alone on this, but you kind of get this feeling like something bad's really going to happen, like constantly, while you're caffeinated, while you're highly stimulated on caffeine. You know, and a lot of people kind of use that like as a crutch. Like they want to feel good in the gym constantly, that these pre-workouts, these stimulated caffeine drinks make them feel like. But you know, like you can't always feel good in the gym, and so when they go into the gym, they don't feel good. Maybe they're having troubles with like their shoulders or some chronic injuries. They kind of just start mean mugging everyone to make them feel better, because they want to feel good every single day. I notice this with especially a lot of old people. A lot of old people are injury ridden, probably for various reasons, but honestly, a lot of reasons that, you know, I would say is because, dude, they want to feel good every single day they go into the gym. I'm not saying that you can't get a win every single time you go into the gym, but man, you can't try and bench like 405 with like a slingshot, you know, chest press equipment every single time you go into the gym. You're bound to have some injuries. So yeah, you have that where you're overstimulated, but you also have to think the music changed for like gym culture kind of music, because now everyone's listening to edits. So not only are they being put in fight or flight mode with their caffeination drinks, but they're also being put in fight or flight mode by the music that they listen to. So they're being put in fight or flight mode by both of these things. And then on top of that, you know, they're trying to make every session feel the best that it can, you know. And a third thing is a lot more people are starting to take PEDs, because it's getting advertised everywhere. I know the influencer that I mentioned earlier, Noel, I think his last name like Dizzle or something like that, it starts with a D. He like brought up this 16-year-old kid who was like promoting PED usage, and he has like this link on his Instagram, and you click the link and it takes you and it says, hey, click to verify that you're 21 years or older, because you have to be 21 years or older to use these like PED drugs. So that's three things that put you in constant fight or flight mode, and a lot of it is pride and greed of constantly wanting more. And not only that, but you're also making the gym your everything. Your gym was never meant to be your everything. I know a very popular bodybuilder, Mike Menser, talks about this, is that it was your body, your gym progress, whatever you're doing, bodybuilding, CrossFit, powerlifting, it was never meant to, it was never meant to be your everything. You know, it was only meant to, you know, you're only meant to be there for a couple hours a day, or sometimes what Mike Benzer preaches of being there for like 30 to like 45 minutes or even like an hour a day. So like really brief sessions like that. So now you have all of those right there. You got the the caffeine, the overstimulated part of it. You got the music part of it. You got the PED usage and overall steroid usage and the part of it. But you also have social media putting a lot of social pressure to be more, to do more constantly. You know, and especially on gym numbers. I mean specifically lifts. Like, I don't even know how many videos I came across where it's like 16-year-old benches 405 for reps, or 16-year-old sumo deadlifts like 700 for reps, you know. But man, there's not a whole lot of like long-term thinking in this. You know, the gym was never meant to be oh, I'm gonna die one day anyways. Even if I die young, at least I can have like the body of my dreams. Hey, at least I can like, even though I'm pushing my body to the upper echelon, like the upper limits of deadlifts, benches, squats, I'm pushing a ton of weight. You know, I'm gonna die anyways. Might as well hit my dream numbers, man. But then like they're gonna like grow old, and they're gonna be very decrepit. They're gonna be very injury ridden. They're gonna be like immobile in that way. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on like the modern day gym culture and why I believe it's how it's kind of degraded in that way. Because like 2020, when it really did kick off with all this stuff, man, it wasn't really like this. It had a lot of like good values and good principles behind it, you know. And it really did stand for something that was just bigger than like your selfish desires and stuff, you know. But now it's just, man, I can't even go into a gym nowadays without having some underlying beef with like a YN, some underlying beef with like a boomer, or some freaking promiscuous woman trying to get attention. Maybe I'm using like the Smith machine for like 5 minutes and I'm getting like the devil's eyes, like, hey, that's my, like, whatever. I'm kind of going off on a tangent right now, but you know what I mean. And that's a large reason why I decided to kind of just quit my gym membership and buy a bunch of equipment and just kind of start working out in my apartment. Because that's, for me at least, that's really what I wanted, was to just kind of better myself. And you know, it might have been for heartbreak, but a lot of it was due to, hey, I just want to be a better man. I just want to be a better version of myself. You know I'm not alone in that either. So anyways, I think that's all I gotta talk about. I'm sure like there's more topics or more things I can kind of touch on with this, but I think right now that's all I gotta talk about. Anyways, God bless.